High above the rugged ridges of the Rocky Mountains in Alberta, Canada, where endless pine forests stretched like green waves beneath the sky, a small sightseeing plane buzzed peacefully through the cold morning air. Elias Morgan, a 14-year-old boy from Calgary, sat by the window with a grin that refused to fade. It was his birthday gift, a scenic flight from Banff Airport given by his uncle, who now sat beside him pointing out glaciers and winding rivers far below. Pilot Harris, calm and skilled, spoke through the headset about the valleys of Kananaskis country, their shadows shifting slowly as the plane drifted above them. Everything felt perfect. Everything felt safe. But at 3,000 meters altitude, the plane suddenly trembled. A deep metallic vibration shuddered through the cabin, and Harris's face tightened. Elias felt the change instantly, like the air itself had grown wary. Then a sharp crack split through the fuselage. The plane jerked violently, equipment rattled, loose items flew, and Elias grabbed his seat instinctively. Another snap followed, louder, angrier. Then the side door panel tore free, ripped outward by the sudden pressure drop. Freezing wind exploded into the cabin, swirling like a storm trapped in a box. Harris yelled, "Hold on," but his words vanished into the roar. Elias felt the force drag at his clothes, his arms, his very breath. He reached for his uncle's hand. Their fingers brushed, then the wind seized him. In one brutal pull, he was thrown out of the plane into the open sky above the Rocky Mountains. For a moment there was no sound, only cold, blinding, unreal silence. Then the world rushed back in with a howl. Elias fell spinning violently, the sky flipping into the forest, then back into the sky again. At first he couldn't even scream. The air slammed against him with such force it tore the breath straight from his lungs. From 3,000 meters, nearly 10,000 feet, he plummeted toward the dark ocean of pine trees below. The wind roared like a living thing, stretching every second into something slow and heavy. Fear surged through him, but beneath it something primal awakened the instinct to survive. He forced his arms and legs outward, fighting to steady himself, and his body leveled into a shaky, face-down freefall. The forest rose fast, faster than his thoughts could form, but in those stretched-out seconds, memories flashed through his mind, his mother calling him in from the backyard, the smell of summer fairs, his dog barking at fireflies, the warmth of sun through the window on lazy weekend mornings. He didn't want this to be the end. The treetops raced toward him, a heartbeat, a breath, a prayer, then impact. Branches smashed against him, hard, brutal, chaotic. Each strike slowed him only slightly, but enough. He crashed through layer after layer of pine limbs, thick ones knocking the wind from him, thinner ones breaking under his weight needles, exploding around him in green bursts. A heavy branch slammed his side pane, flashing white behind his eyes, but it slowed him more. Another cluster of limbs caught him like rough natural nets. Finally, he plunged into dense undergrowth, rolling into a thicket at the base of an enormous pine tree. Silence followed, pure, heavy silence. Elias lay there staring at the thin ribbon of sky visible through the branches. Pain throbbed everywhere, sharp burning, but he was conscious. He was breathing. He was alive. Minutes passed, maybe hours. Time felt strange and stretched in the vast stillness of the mountain forest. Eventually, he heard voices, distant, faint, then growing clearer. A search and rescue team responding to the aircraft's distress call, moving through the forest. When they found him, they froze in disbelief. A boy who had fallen from 3,000 meters, lying broken but alive in the undergrowth. They carried him out carefully, speaking in hushed tones as though the air itself might shatter if they spoke too loudly. At Foothills Medical Center in Calgary, doctors confirmed the impossible truth: Elias had fractures, deep bruising, and a concussion, but no fatal injuries. The dense forest of Kananaskis had acted like a brutal, painful, but life-saving series of natural cushions. News spread across Canada. People called it a miracle. Experts debated the physics, and reporters followed every update. But Elias, soft-voiced and calm when he finally spoke, said he didn't feel chosen or miraculous. He felt grateful. "I remember the sunlight," he said when asked what stood out most. "Right after I hit the ground. It felt like the world telling me I wasn't done yet." Months after recovery, he often walked by the Bow River in Banff, looking up at the mountains that nearly claimed his life. Sometimes he paused, watching the sky with a quiet, awed expression. Not in fear, but in wonder. Because he had fallen from the sky through one of the wildest forests in Canada and somehow lived. A miracle in the Rocky Mountains. A reminder of how fragile humans are and how unbelievably strong we can be.